right, guys.
I love this show. I love my people, my TVJ people. You know, when we take a break, Jamaica, it's hilarious what happens on set. Okay. Everybody gets wild.
We just wanted to introduce you to Farron. Farron, cameo appearance though. Brief, short and brief.
I love it.
All right, let's move on with the show if we can. We're going to face it. Let's just come face to face with it. The school commute, not a joke. We know the traffic is in overdrive these days, so we've invited someone who can help us. Chief Executive Officer of the National Parenting Support Commission, Kesia Carr. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're going to help us to beat the traffic? Or you're just going to help us to get onto the house before?
Certainly, certainly.
Both?
Well, no, not the traffic. I have no control over that. Okay. I can help to tell parents. I can help parents. Some of the things they could do to ensure that the children get to school on time.
Well, let's talk about that because it's rough. Simone, I don't know about you, but it's rough for me sometimes to get my child to school on time. Let's go through some of the tips that you can share that will keep a stress-free home.
Because this is usually a time, especially the first term, as Empress was saying this morning, when September hits, after you're coming back from that lull of extra half-hour sleep, and so on and so forth. It's really hard to get yourself back
in the groove. Yeah. So one of the things we push as an element for effective parenting is structure. So what we're actually talking about is routines. So the routines, as you rightly said, would have been broken over break, because children want to sleep in a little longer, and let's face it, they're tired, having gone through a term.
So do we.
So you would, yes. So you would have allowed them to sleep in. But the thing about it, you have to now prepare them for the new term, get them back into the routine. But that's not an automatic process. You have to start the conversation a week before to say, look, we're preparing you so you get back in that mode. So you get to bed at a particular time. To ease them back into those early mornings because, and then you have to, once they get up, you have to decide what that routine is supposed to be. So is it that you're going to get up first, hit the showers, then come to breakfast? Persons organize it a little differently depending on who you are. But the important thing is to get them back in the routine before the term begins. Because then you're jolting your system again, and we don't want that. We want to ease them into it. And then it takes a conversation too. We have to prepare the children. There are people too.
Realize we can talk to them like people, you know.
Exactly.
And they do
understand. The thing is, the children don't like to be late for school anyhow. They feel embarrassed. And so if you talk to them, let them know that, look, school is coming up, and so we're going to have to turn the television off early because you have to get to bed, because you have to get up a little earlier. Then they will understand. It's very important, those conversations, to prepare them once more.
And it's so unfair. I mean, even though we try our best sometimes, you know, you feel badly to think your child is walking in and feeling badly about the fact that he or she is late, and they can't do nothing about it.
They can't do anything about it. That's right. So they're looking to parents for leadership, and they want to get to school. They don't want anybody to be jeering, because other children will jeer, and teachers will scoff at you too as a parent. You look disorganized, so you really want to ensure that you're getting them to bed early and you're getting up and then deciding once they get up, what are those routines that you're supposed to be following, so it's seamless. In some households, it's almost robotic.
Of course.
They just go through the motions, and children know the bag is packed from the night before, and actually at the door, so it's a matter of grabbing. So you ensure that all the correct books are in the bags. Those book bags can be
so let's go through
very
the
interesting.
Because you're going through about 3 of them. The first one is what?
First one, we're saying lay out the clothes the night before, as you were just saying, and put it next to the child.
That's right.
That helps me too.
No, it helps me. And guess what? It's a good bonding moment too.
It's a good bonding
where I
moment.
tell him he has to clean his own shoes, and you know, you kind of have that conversation with them in the room. And you know, what's tomorrow? Football. Okay, get your boots. What are you wearing? Pack your bag. That teaches them responsibility. I feel. Now, do you think? All right, let's go through the next one then. So, anything else to add to that? No.
Right, and we're talking about preparing the book bag. The book bags can be very big and with a whole lot of things in them.
The book suitcases.
The book suitcases.
Yeah,
Truth be told, because some of them look like police.
Of course.
Right. So you want to make sure you have the timetables organized, and sometimes there are changes to timetables. So it's also important to keep in touch whether with other parents or the school to ensure that there is no disruption of that particular process. And you pack the bags before. And so that even prior to that, you also want to ensure that whatever they would have done in terms of preparation, whether it's homework or revision, those things would have been done, so those particular books are in the bag as well. And some people, like I say, leave them at the doorway, and so it's just a matter of grabbing
it
on
up
the
when
way
you're leaving.
when you're leaving.
The getting your child to bed on time, that's a tough part.
That's a hard one, man.
I know some parents set time as 7, some as 8 o'clock.
And some earlier, depending on what the commute is
Yes,
like.
I find mine will run up and down till 12 o'clock if she don't.
Of course, same with mine.
But once I tell her get into bed,
That's it.
automatically
She will fall
she winds
asleep.
out and she falls asleep. So it
You
really is
set
about
the-
enforcement.
That's right, exactly.
Okay.
And like I said, children want rules, or they want
structure.
systems, they want structure. They don't want to know that they're calling the shot. Their responsibility is to test.
They don't want, or
They're calling the shot.
They don't want that because
No,
mine seems to call a lot of
but the thing is, they're there to push
pushing the
boundaries.
boundaries.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
supposed to. It's a part of the growth process. But they really want somebody to say, listen, this is what we decided that was supposed to happen, because it's a conversation too. They must understand the reason behind.
So
a
what is my
particular
bedtime
decision.
stretch from 7 o'clock to sometimes 9? Like I get you down at 7:15. And I'm looking at the clock and, Mommy, can you come back and lie down with me? Like, what is that about?
Well, here's somebody who is also understanding who you are, and that you are going to perhaps come back and lie down with. So he understands you all too well, and and knows all the buttons and all the right things to say and how to change the tones of his voice, perhaps, to get you to do what he wants. So you have to know.
He's listening. Don't say anything.
Manipulating mommy.
Yes, he's
101.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so you have to know, figure out how you're going to get back some amount of control. That's not a word that we like, but it's some amount of control. And it's through conversation and gentle coaxing to say that, look, this is what ought to happen.
So we have some other ones. We have about a minute. Invest in an alarm clock, encouraging your child to get himself or herself
headache.
ready.
So if you don't get a headache from the alarm clock, fine.
Simple breakfast is good.
That's right.
Easy cheesy.
And plan that before as well. So much emphasis on the planning before. You don't want to be scurrying in the kitchen wondering, oh, what do I fix this morning? You would have done some kind of inventory, if you will. Find out what's in the fridge, what's available, and plan before.
And ask them at night, what do you want for breakfast
And ask them
tomorrow
too, because sometimes you get turned off. You don't want oatmeal every single day. You might get very turned off.
And healthy
so-
breakfast. I
and
want to add
healthy
that.
options,
Fruits, people,
healthy
you know.
options too. We know the big conversation about sugar intake and so on, and what that does.
Yes.
I mean, from my own experience as an educator, it does cause hyperactivity in some children. So you really want to be pushing healthier options as well.
Okay, and then we want to give them breaks on the weekends, because after all that routine,
Absolutely.
you can give them a little free time on the weekend too.
Do you believe in late nights as well on weekends as for children?
Well, it depends on who the child is. Some children recover very well, having sat up very late. Some don't. Some get fatigue. So it all depends who it is. And of course, those are conversations for your family as well to decide what time do you go in.
Can you
But
tell
I
us
do believe weekend breaks are very important.
Can you tell us about this parenting village before we go?
Yes, so on the 27th of January, almost said November. On the 27th of January, we are doing the National Parent Village right there in Montego Bay at Jarrett Park. It was supposed to have been in November, but we had the interesting rains. And so that was very interesting. And so that was postponed. So we're now having it on the 27th of January. And we're encouraging everybody to come out. Like I say, it's my love gift to Jamaica. We have all our partners back on board, and we'll be having some good discussions on topical issues about parenting, and just to give persons some tips. We can all do better as parents. So come on out and add to the conversation. We're going live with that, and it's going to be a fun time. This is really our idea of what the village ought to be.
And we need it.
And we so
need
it. No,
it's
not easy.
not
Whatever
at
help
all.
we can get, we appreciate.
And I appreciate your echoing that, because I think we need to admit it, that it is difficult.
It's hard, man.
It has its challenges.
It's hard.
And that's the first thing. But once we know and we're there to support each other, it gets a little better.
Support.
Excellent.
Support, yes.
Well done, Casey.
Yes.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
You're most
Casey.
Nice
welcome.
tips this
Thank
morning.
you.
Yes, very well spoken. I hope you learned something this morning,
Thank
guys,
you.
from this discussion.
And cuddles. Hug your children.
Yes, all the time.
Can I have a hug?
All
Can I have
the
a
time.
hug? Guys, give me a hug. Come see.
CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission.
Come hug me.
I'll jump in
Your
too.
friend,
I like
Casey
hugs.
Carm. All right. You see that this might be one way to tackle crime, you know, if we all get along.
You understand?
Right? So
Hug somebody.
We're going to talk about crime after the break.